going to read this short paragraph. I've been diagnosed with CRS, can't remember shit. So I'm going to read this. I'm honored and indebted to the Basco for having the vision to host this show of highlights from my life's passion, the art of the pot. For 52 years, I've kept favorite pots that reached or became what I was after in that series of work, came close to my goals. 52 years of research and development, trial and error, success and failure. For me, I learn more from a failure than I do a successful firing or whatever. It makes you go deeper, figure out what was going on, and then you can take it further. These pots came from thousands of pots. And when I was an undergraduate, I saw that the faculty weren't keeping their own art. First of all, they weren't making very much. Great teachers expend their energy teaching, and they end up not making very much art. So I started keeping pots from the very beginning. In that first pinch pot, naturally you give your mother pots. You have to be careful what you give your mother because you're going to get them back. And each piece, to me, is a gem from a certain point in time. There's a lot of different processes in that room. And it's simply the way that I've worked. Once I accomplish something, I get bored and I go to something else. These pots are the visual and mental accumulation of all of my mentors, all the pots I've observed through these many years, and this collection that I've lived with. I mean, I had over 1,000 pots in my house that went back to Sung Dynasty. Not to copy them, but there's a feeling from good pots, and they do speak to me, and I can pick out, if you go to Catawba Valley, North Carolina, there's a lot of potters, but there's a couple that just really stood out. And I've always said those great pots were from the potters doing a little more than was necessary, and also imparting their personality. I mean, I can pick out a Thomas Chandler piece from Edgefield, South Carolina, 1850s, by form, lip, and handles. So by living with these pots, you learn more, and I think it allows you to kind of reach more. I wish I could go through and explain every one. Every single pot here, and I still have 1,000 pots in my house, but every pot has a story. And some of the pots in the collection were bought as examples of form, lip, handles, glaze, the way it was fired. I've always taught, and a lot of these pots I bought as teaching aid. And I've had students come to my studio. I can go to California and show slides, but you can't hold the pot. You can come to my house, feel the weight, look at the foot. It's been an incredible teaching aid. And I think you could spend time with every piece in there, and it would just keep saying more things. And potters, we have a non-verbal language that we evaluate pots, we see what's in them, and potters will go to the same pots kind of thing. So, Pat had mentioned the timeless pot thing, and that's been kind of the foremost. 2 years ago, when Sally asked me to do this, I told her no several times. I didn't want those pots leaving my house. They're my children. They're the best pots I've ever made. I don't want those going out. So she coerced me into doing this. And then I had to go through my house and start picking pots, which was an incredible experience, creating an enormous amount of introspection. I mean, it took me back through every step and every bump in the road prior. So I did it. I picked 129 pots, And then I thought, well, what am I going to do with the rest of these pots? So I put them up for sale. But some of the pots are lesson pots. In other words, they came out of the kill, maybe doing what I wanted, maybe doing more, but it was a lesson in how to do it the next time. Sometimes I would make functional stoneware casseroles. That copper red vapor I did in the early years at Clemson. I set up the ceramic art program at Clemson in '71, right out of the Army. And I got that program going. In '76, I was a tenured assistant professor, and I quit because I wanted to make pots. And, you know, if you're sending most of your energy to teaching, you go home, you don't have the mental and physical energy to do your art. So I wanted to focus all of the energy into the art. And that was '76, and I've been full-time studio since. The other thing that I wanted to mention, and I should have thought of this earlier and had it in the catalog, I'm going to dedicate a show to my high school teacher. I tried to get him down, but he can't travel at this point. He taught in Illinois for 53 years. And he was teacher of the year and different things like that. And I've always said in my workshops, a great teacher sees the spark and nourishes the flame. And he saw the love I had for the clay, and he nudged me into going to college. I was not going to go to college. In synchronicity, I happened to be 70 miles from Illinois State. Illinois State ended up having a great art department. So once I got to college, Jim Wozniak took over. And then I mentioned mentors, people that I met. I was introduced to some of the foremost ceramic artists in the country. Wozniak would bring them in for workshops. So I had a great education from the very beginning. And he's the one individual that led to those pots in there, which, you know, I really appreciate. So anyway, there's a lot of stories in there. There's everything from that pinch pot. That pinch pot is perfectly symmetrical with a trimmed foot. I was a potter in another lifetime. Well, you know, where's that come from? But if you have questions, I will be glad to go through those pots. You know, why did I pick certain things? So we can do that. And again, I really want to thank the Bascom and even more so Sally and Pat. Because without them, it wouldn't really have come together. And I'd like to thank all the people that supported the Bascom in promoting the show. So thank you very much.